Welcome to ZOOMERTIMES TV, and here's your host, Anita Finley.
Hello again, I'm Anita Finley, and we're here with another exciting ZOOMERTIMES TV show. And of course, we just had an author, and now we have an actor, and a wonderful actor from a great place that I love to go, Lake Worth Playhouse in Lake Worth, Florida. It's really a great place. It's really historical, and the shows they have are really wonderful. And so I'm going to introduce you to our guest, who is an actor, and his name is Rhett Pennell, and he is one of the stars of Peter and the Starcatcher. So welcome to our show, Rhett.
Thanks for having me, Anita. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Are you all geared up for this show? It actually starts very soon. It starts October the 8th, which is just a few days ago from now.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope we're ready for it. As we speak, we're in the final couple of days before the premiere. So if we're not ready, then we're in trouble. But we are.
Well, tell me, and our watchers, and our listeners, what actually is Peter and the Starcatcher? What's it all about?
Well, Peter and the Starcatcher is based on a series of books by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. Dave Barry, you may know as the columnist. He a humorous columnist. He's been around for years, and this was his foray into young adult fiction or juvenile fiction. And there's a whole series of books about Peter Pan in his formative days. I have a book here from the library. This is Peter and the Sword of Mercy, which is a later book, not the story we're focusing on now. Peter and the Starcatcher became a Broadway show back, I guess, 2011, I believe. It's a Tony Award-winning production they put on, and much beloved by many. And we are doing it at the Lake Worth Playhouse now, having a grand time doing it.
Well, let me also say that, let me ask, how many people are in the show?
It's written for 12 people, and that's what we're using. It's 12 people to create the world of Peter in his younger days.
And what do the costumes look like?
Gorgeous. There's all kinds of our costumer Jill has done a wonderful job I get a lovely black pirate shirt and a gorgeous velvety pirate coat, and many of the cast are, well, some of the cast are orphans and bedraggled sorts, but I get to be one of the classy ones. and she's done a great job. The entire crew has done a great job of putting the show together. In fact, we have you discussed the Lake Worth Playhouse. It's a gorgeous theater in Lake Worth. It has a vast history going back to the 1920s. And for me, the most resonant feature is the roof. The ceiling is, I think, the original ceiling from the original theater back in the 1920s. It's like cypress beams, and you can just feel the weight of ages over your head, a sturdy weight of ages. It's not gonna fall on you or anything, but it's gorgeous, painted, and it's got a sense of history to it that is just marvelous.
Yeah, it is. It's true, and I love going there. That's one of the reasons also. But into this show, you play the pirate. Now, who plays Peter Pan? Is a small person? And you have them flying?
Not a small person. No, he's quite a tall fellow. His name is George Amador, and he he used a little stagecraft there. He plays 13. He may be a little older than 13, but that's the magic of the theater. You say you're 13, the audience has to believe. He does a great job, and you'll thoroughly enjoy him and the rest of the cast, and hopefully me, because I certainly have a very fun role as the pirate Black Stache, who is not a familiar name in the Peter Pan mythos, but he may become someone more familiar as the play goes on.
Is there music?
There is music. It's not a musical per se, but there are musical numbers in it. Lovely things at the beginning to get the ball rolling, and Act One has a rousing number. Act 2 starts with a rather very fun number. And yeah, not so much a musical, but it's there as it fits.
Well, the other part about when I go there, I'm always fascinated by the talent. And I was going to ask you, where do you normally act? In South Florida?
Well, truthfully, I've moved here recently, and Lake Worth Playhouse. Since I moved to the Boynton Beach area, the Lake Worth area, I only know about the Lake Worth Playhouse. I was actually cast to be in their production of Annie last year, but as the COVID concerns rose, I had to get out of there. So this will be my first play with Lake Worth Playhouse. I used to live up in the Cocoa Beach area, and I was in a number of plays at the Surfside Playhouse there. Long ago, I ran off to New York to be an actor, and I did okay for a number of years. I got my equity card, got my SAG card. I was in the actors unions up there, and I spent years touring the country in musical children's shows. And whenever I played, I paid my rent as an actor for a number of years, so I did okay.
And when did you decide you wanted to be an actor? Were you just 5 years old?
Something like that. Yeah, I think my first show was when I was 7 years old, and my mom signed me up to be in the musical Gypsy. I was a little kid in the talent shows of that show, and I was marching around as a Boy Scout at one point. And for the rest of the show, we'd be in a dark bus out in the back of the theater until it was time for us to come back on for the bows. But it was a lot of fun, and I got the taste for it then.
I can tell. I mean, you're very animated. It's lovely to talk with you because you're hopping up and down, and that's good. That's enthusiasm, and that's self-confidence.
You've got a nice way to say I'm a ham, so thank you. No,
it's good. And so have you ever played in this particular show before?
No, it's the first for me. Peter and Starcatcher. I've had my eye on this show for a number of months. So, with the health concerns out there, of course, I've tried to stay away from the theater. And this one, this was too good to not throw my hat in the ring for it. And I got the role I wanted.
And do you know, a lot of the audience, and I, for one, feel the same way. We wonder how you memorize your lines. We just can't understand it.
It's a lot of work. And I've got some big monologues, so it's definitely it's sitting alone, staring at the script for hours. Sometimes, I heard someone recently talking about how it takes 4 hours of preparation for every 10 minutes of presentation. So
really,
it's, I don't know if that's the actual ratio, but it's close. It's a lot of sitting around staring at the lines and trying to say them over and over and over again. Eventually it clicks in, and then once it's there, you have tools to build on that and make it your own. Make the word.
And also, I guess, talking to an actor, sometimes if they forget the lines, they just keep going, and then the other actors just pick up on it. Is that true?
The show must go on. Yeah, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. So, back in my touring days, I was in a production of Velveteen Rabbit, and in a moment of just brain fluffery, I skipped to, in desperation, I skipped lines from a scene 3 scenes down the line, which meant the other actors had to cobble together all the parts of the story that I had skipped along the way. And they, to their credit, they did it. I think the show was workable. That's the worst I ever did. I've been better since.
This is Rhett Pennell, and he's going to be performing as the pirate in the upcoming Peter and the Starcatcher, which starts October the 8th, goes to the 24th at our wonderful Lake Worth Playhouse, which is really special. And the reason I love it is because it's not in a very busy area. So you get there, you can find parking or park with valet. There are lots of restaurants to go before, go after. and the volunteers are so kind, and the space is very large. Unlike some theaters, we're all crowded together. That's not true at Lake Worth Playhouse. So I know that it's a safe place to go, and they've been very careful. So it's really a Tony winning award show, and I don't think we've had it down here yet. Frankly, I don't know.
I think someone mentioned it might have been at a theater in one of the local surrounding areas like 4 years ago. But it's been a while, and I think every production is different. So if you've seen that one, come see ours. Maybe we're better. Maybe we're the best you've ever seen.
So of all the shows that you've performed, which is your favorite? I mean, you can't say this one, and people will forgive you. But it sounds like you've been in a lot of shows. What was your favorite show?
I must admit, it was one of the ones I wrote and made the music for myself. My wife and I, long after I'd left the acting career behind, and I became an illustrator, a toy designer. I worked for Fisher-Price and Spin Master and companies like that. But while we lived in North Carolina, my wife had the idea to start a little kind of children's plays, and we'd perform in local libraries and schools. And one of the shows we did was the Jack Tales. It's sort of the legends of the Blue Ridge Mountains, basically. And I cobbled together a version of Jack and the Beanstalk and some other stories. And I wrote the script, wrote the music, and I was Jack. I was Jack, and I got to sing my songs and act my heart out for this production. And I gotta say that was one of my favorites right there. My wife directing and acting as Mother Goose narrator for the thing. I rarely get to act with my wife. That was the case where we got to be on stage together. So,
that sounds fabulous. So why don't you do something with it here?
We might. We had other plays. The Jack Tales was more about that area, but we also have productions of Puss in Boots, Rumpelstiltskin. There was Snow White and Rose Red was a favorite too. It's not quite the Snow White There's a different story where two sisters live in the woods and encounter this big bear who has many secrets. We had a lot of fun with those plays.
Well, I think that a lot of people would love something like this because, there are a lot of children, and people are always looking for shows for children. It sounds delightful.
Well, thank you. Well, we'll see. We'll see. When things are a little safer, we'll look into making that happen.
Oh yeah. Well, see, I knew there had to be a lot more about you. You're just so, effervescent. I mean, I can't think of another word, but it's such a pleasure to talk to you. I know when we asked Catherine, could we have one of your actors on this show? She said, I have a perfect one, and his name is Rhett Pennell. And I said, okay. And I guess you make yourself known there. That's all I
try. There's certainly a wonderful bunch there, and I hope to work with them again very soon. I know they've got some Shakespeare plays coming up. I love Shakespeare. I know they have Much Ado About Nothing coming up next year.
The next one that's coming, which is November 12th to 28th, is The Importance of Being Earnest.
Absolutely. That's a great show. My wife was in a production of that. I was too. She played Lady Bracknell in a production in North Carolina. And she did a great job.
So your wife is also an actor as well as
when she can, yes, indeed. Yes. Whenever she gets a chance to, absolutely. So we're very hammy house here. We all play music.
So you understand one another. Do you have children yet?
We do. Our daughter is that's as much as the acting bug, but she does play the harp. And
oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Most kids, we have guitars, things. You want to learn the guitar? Why would I want to learn to play the guitar when all I want to do is play the harp? So she's got a harp, big expensive harp, and she does a great. She plays a lovely. She's a lovely harpist.
The problem with a harp is not easy to carry around from place to place.
No. She goes to FAU now, so and she's plays the harp as part of their orchestra. So every Tuesday we lug it down to FAU, and every Thursday we lug it back.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Yeah, so good for you, because she, I know that I've been to parties where they have a harp, and the harp there's no other music as special as a harp. In fact, more people who have weddings should have harps.
Yes,
harpists.
And soon my daughter will be available for those weddings. So keep my name in mind. MJ Pennell. I'm sure she'll do a great job for you.
Okay, so I want to keep talking to you, Rhett, about this show. So what would you say that people will take away from this? Most good theater usually has some sort of you captivate something. People walk away, if it's a good show, with something that they don't forget. What would you say that is in this show?
That is a wonderful question. I would say just the power of storytelling. Our job in the show is, as 12 actors, is to represent a world, and we are telling you the story of how Peter Pan came to be, and I think just it's a story of fun, sadness, and it goes to dark places and triumphs, and just the resonance of stories and storytelling. I think you will. I think that'll work as an answer there, because it's
Well, let me ask you then, how long is it? And for the first part, then there's an intermission. Just one intermission?
Yeah, one intermission. I think it clocks in around 2 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes. It's a solid show. It's for everybody. I mean, there's certainly an adult edge, but bring the family. It's for everybody. I mean, kids love Peter Pan. There's pirates. There could be giant crocodiles mentioned. There could be all kinds. There's magic and wonder and sadness and human tragedy. But in the end, it's a good story, and I think everyone will enjoy it. And Lake Worth has built this amazing set for us. We get to climb all over we have like 3 levels of scaffolding to climb. I've been in a number of theaters where you're risking your life as you kind of teeter your way backstage upstairs and things. This thing would stand forever if they let it. It's a good solid. We're up there running around having a great time. So
I was going to ask you about the set, because they've done a great job with their sets, and it's a big stage, so you have a lot of room to do stuff.
And they did. They filled it. And they filled it up. I mean, we like I said, it goes up very high in the back there. There are times I'm running around on level 3 up there, looking down at the people below me and the audience. It's quite a lovely view at times. It's a great. They did right by us. They've got a good set going there.
You have to really hand it to those set designers, because they can make or break a show, actually.
Absolutely, and no breaking here. They're a thumbs up to them. It looks great, and it's great to run around and act on.
And we did say there was music. Now, is this canned music? Is it real? Where does the music come from?
It is to a track. Yes, we do not have an orchestra. But hopefully we'll do our job right, and you won't notice so much. So hopefully you'll enjoy the songs no matter what.
Right, and let's just get back to rehearsals. So you do a lot of rehearsals, but then how many times are you in costume before the actual show?
I got my actual costume last week, so I'm getting to see it, and we have. There's a couple of costume changes along the way that we're just getting used to some of the how to make those costumes work, but long enough to get a sense of it. I think we're solid. I think we're ready for you. So
there are costume changes. That's interesting to see, and I have always wondered about that myself. Someone goes off off, the stage. They come back. Are there people hustling to change their clothing?
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. Sometimes it's hard to be modest in the theater, but you're definitely throwing things off and throwing it on and getting it just right before you walk on with all the poise you can muster, not letting people know what chaos we're just dealing with moments ago backstage. Or in the case of the Lake Worth Playhouse, the dressing room is under the stage. So it's going down the stairs, running around, getting things done, and then coming back up, and then here I am. You'll never know the secrets going on down below.
Oh, so they're underneath. I didn't know that. So it's like a basement.
Absolutely, yeah. It's back in my acting days. Back in when I was getting paid for this stuff. I was in lots and lots of theaters with all kinds of different arrangements. I think I've seen this arrangement before. In fact, I may have been in this theater back in the 1990s. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure I recognize the ceiling, and the ceiling is very memorable. So I'm not sure, but there are many theaters. I always have the big notion: have I been here before decades ago? But but yes, all the downstage, there's all kind of chaos happening as we get things ready to present ourselves upstage.
And tell us about the director, because directors really, they have to be nice, but they have to be smart and very strong.
Sabrina Lynn Gore is nice and smart and strong. She's put together a great show here, and with 12 wrangly actors, she's done a great job of keeping us in check and letting us play and explore. And she's got to deal with lots of production elements in this show. We have hurricanes and ships crashing and again, pirates and islands and magic, and she wrangles it all with aplomb.
Wow. Auditioning, it seems like that, there's so many movies about what it's like to audition for, usually they're musicals, but what is it like? How do you find out that there's a show coming, and how does an audition go?
I wish I was better at finding out what shows are playing in the area. I need to look out more for that. But in this case, Lake Worth Playhouse is very good about posting their audition notices on their website. So I'd say go to Lake Worth Playhouse website and keep your eye out, because things are coming along all the time. I'm always surprised about how many things are now coming down the path. Importance Being Earnest coming. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead is coming up. And next year is we'll be here before we know it. Plenty of play is there as well. So keep your eyes
And
open.
do you get nervous with an audition? I mean, how does that feel? Because there are other people there auditioning too, and you have to figure out who's better, right? I mean,
yes, and I'll actually. Well, yeah, you hope you're in good company there, and I with my professional acting background, I have a little attitude there, knowing that I know this is for fun. This is to get me away from my computer screen where I'm staring, drawing things all day. I like to get out there and move and live and interact, and this is my social life basically. So it's if I'm not cast, I wasn't right for anything. But if I'm right for something, I'm going to go for it with all the gusto. This audition was embarrassing in the extreme because for this audition, I went in and I figured I'd use some fresher shoes. My shoes were not in great shape, so I pulled some out of the back of my closet. And what I didn't know was that they had aged badly. So as I was walking around in the lobby, the soles of my shoes dissolved. The little bits and chunks of crumbs were everywhere, and before I looked up, what is all these white crumbs everywhere? And then I realized with horror, oh, it's me. And so I was, see if I get a notice, and then but there were some giant pieces of my shoes that continued to dissolve and keep dissolving. And who knew shoes could dissolve? Mine dissolved.
This is hysterical.
And people were apparently they'd had maybe some leaks there, and they were wondering, oh dear, is the ceiling, is there a problem with the ceiling in the lobby? And I had to admit, no, it's me, I'm so sorry. So I auditioned, when I eventually went into the theater, I auditioned barefoot. I took my shoes off.
This is great.
So yeah, I could not track more white crumbs from my shoes into the theater. So I auditioned barefoot, and maybe that helped. Maybe that made an impression. Maybe that's an acting tip. If you want to audition, make yourself known, go barefoot.
So Rhett Pennell is this is you have to go see the show, especially if he's in it. I mean, he's hysterical and he's delightful and he's enthusiastic. And so let me tell you again, this is the Peter and the Starcatcher starting October 8th to the 24th, and it's at the Lake Worth Playhouse, and it's going to be delightful. Every show I have ever been there is really, they're fabulous, but this is really sounds like it's going to be a real wow. Great stage production, and of course now we see that Rhett is in it, and it's got to be good. I was just going to say what you were saying about the barefoot. Maybe that's a new thing. You have to do something that's different. Maybe from now on, you're known as the barefoot auditioner.
I would hope my talent would get me more roles than trickery, but in a pinch, gotta hold on to the tools you have.
Yeah.
I watched your show before. I know you're very good about keeping all the information like right below me. I'm sure as people are watching this, they see the gray band of information below me. So by all means, read it and go, please. We'd love to see you there.
Yeah, no, it's very, very important for us to keep theaters going. There are wonderful theaters. When I lived in South Florida many years ago, we didn't have many theaters. I lived in Miami. We had something there. It was a small theater, but everything's grown now, and there's some big performing arts theaters. But thank goodness there's some small theaters. And as Rhett said, the Palm Beach Playhouse has been there in the 20s, and they've been able to keep themselves going. And it's a miracle. But I like people who support this. It's one thing to sit in front of your TV and watch. There are good movies, there are good things. But when you're in a theater and it's live, it just doesn't beat. There's nothing better than that. Isn't that true, Rhett?
Absolutely. The interaction with the people on stage, and there's an organic symbiosis between the actors and the audience, and it creates its own kind of magic. And there's nothing like it. And
that was my other question I wanted to ask you. So you're performing and you look out at the audience. What do you see? Are you really looking at them, or because that could take your mind off of it? What do you see as an actor?
It depends on the moment. If it's a moment where I'm really just trying to quite often they're mostly in the dark, of course, but you can make out faces, and if you need that connection, the audience is usually right there for you. If you just kind of see them as eyes in the dark, they're there for what you take them for what they will give you, what you're giving them, and hopefully it's a good connection, and usually it is. So it's what makes it all worthwhile.
Well, Rhett, thank you very much. We've just now run out of time. And so Rhett Pennell, and it's we're going to see him along with 11 other actors at the Lake Worth Playhouse, October the 8th to the 24th. Thanks for taking your time. I know that you're rushing now with your rehearsals, and I'm sure you'll be great. Can't wait to see you.
Absolutely. Please come. We would love to have you. We'd love to have yes, the show is going to be a great one, and we look forward to putting it on for you.
Thank you very much, Rhett.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.